Hi everyone, welcome back to the Curls and Combos podcast. I'm Lauren Walburn.
And I'm Emily Hutchinson. Today you're watching part 2 of last week's episode about teens' mental health, and we have our special guest.
Hope you guys enjoy. Okay guys, here we are with our special guest. This is Dr. Mathis. He's going to introduce himself for you guys.
So my name is Jonathan Mathis, and I am a physician. I'm a pediatrician at Holzer, and I've been here for around 8 years, and I love what I do, and I love the fact that you guys are doing this. I am, I'm corny. I'm a little corny, but you kidding me? To be able to have these conversations and to do it this way, awesome.
Thank you. So glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So today we are going to be talking about, this is going to be the part 2 of our teens' mental health from last week. So if you didn't watch that, that's kind of me and Lauren's personal introduction to it. So make sure go check that out.
Like, subscribe.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
That's what I keep hearing. Like, do I go like this?
Yes.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Okay. I always wanted to do that. That was awesome. Thank you for letting me do that.
Yeah.
Of course.
So we're really going to be talking about what is mental health, adults versus teens, what can cause bad mental health, and how to get out of that.
Yes.
So let's go.
So what would you say your definition of mental health is?
Well, mental health should be looked at like anything else. Like you would look at your overall health as far as if you had high blood pressure, or if you had, let's say you had diabetes or something. I mean, something, the same thing that can affect your physical.
Okay, go.
No, so your mental. I think what's some of the issue is that mental health is looked at as this kind of separate section of us, of a person, and it's not. Everything is tied, right? Within us and around us. So, mental health is like, let's say sadness, right? That's a weather event, right? A storm or something like that, right? It comes and goes. It's not every day. You're gonna have those days, but you're gonna have better days, so on and so forth. Or feel like you have better days, right? But then you have mental health, and then kind of looking at that as kind of like a climate change, right? There's like a new set norm. So, everybody gets sad, angry, nervous, whatever it may be. Everybody goes through it, but not everybody gets stuck in there. So therefore, it's the intensity. How long is this affecting my concentration, my engagement, my willingness to go out and socialize? What is it affecting around me, right? That's your mental health. Whatever that looks like for someone, that's that definition, and it looks different. However, your overall health can be broken down into certain sections, but it's all together. So that's why this is very, very important to address.
That was amazing.
That was really good.
Yeah, that was really good.
I might have been practicing in the mirror. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you.
Nothing wrong with that.
Me too.
Maybe we should start doing that, actually.
No, honestly, yeah. Takes us sometimes.
Yeah.
So what are common misconceptions that you often see about mental health?
That it's not to be talked about. That it's like taboo. This is something, you don't bring that up and you just you just push forward. And that's not true. That is not true. We keep the score, if you will, right? Our bodies keep a running tab of all of our experiences. So we might do what we can to, put this away, bring this here, I don't want to think about that. That's fine. And then we get used to it, and then we think we're doing better, but our bodies trigger, right? So, and I don't want to veer too far off, but trauma, right? What are some of the things that can lead to poor mental health? It's your everyday experiences. It's trauma that you go through. What is trauma? Trauma is a continual exposure to a negative event. If it's domestic violence, if it's abuse, if it's sexual abuse, if it's in anything that causes some type of disturbance to your underlying well-being and then sets that new tone, right? So now you've gone through this, and now your body's always in this hyper-vigilant awareness looking for the next threat, even when there isn't one. So that in itself affects mental health, and that can start from when you're this big. Sorry guys, I'm like this big, right? So it can start, and it happens, and it does happen, So it's a moving target. It comes with a stigma as if you have a diagnosis, you're on medication, or you're going to be sent somewhere. That's not the case. That is not the case. Everybody goes through hardships. Everybody has ups and downs, some worse than others. And this, talking about it, engaging, asking questions, that's how we approach it. The other part, some of the misconceptions, breaking it down, men versus women, boys versus girls. There's this kind of machismo, I'm tough, so I shouldn't talk about the things that are affecting me. And and we have to break down those barriers too, right? You know,
I think that's like a
We talked about it.
like a common thing that we see, like
yeah.
men don't show emotions, you know, like the common like
Well, you know,
like, you know what I mean?
They try to-
What's the word?
like the stereotype.
Yeah, stereotype.
there you
of men,
go.
Yeah.
But it is, and I think some of it is it's passed down, right? You're supposed to be a man. You have to be a man, and you're supposed to be strong, and so on and so forth. While acknowledging and being brave enough. I don't want to say brave enough. Acknowledging and walking into whatever it is that's affecting you. That is strength.
Yeah.
That is being a man, or whatever that looks like. You know, that's the old guard. We have to change it. We have to change and say, you have to talk, because eventually something has to give.
Yeah.
Yes. So now adults like versus teens, like what, so like how like do they differ between the two like the most?
They do and they don't. And what I mean by that is that some of these things start very, very early. And there are studies that look at adults who have reported mental health illness. And a lot of times these things start when they're very young, which is why it's very important to catch it early as a pediatrician. That's why we engage, we ask, how's everything going? How things going at home? Any changes, any stressors? That's vitally important to trying to get ahead of this. But adults, it might look different because of, look at the responsibilities, look at the access that you might have to certain things. And then it's kind of at this point, all right, we hit a certain age and now go be an adult, right? You got a job, and then you got your family, and you got bills, and you got everything. There's no time for complaining or whatever the case may be. And that's false. That's false. Because think about it now, when somebody decides to have a child, have a family, we are knowingly or unknowingly, mostly unknowingly maybe, are passing down some of that trauma, some of these experiences down to the next generation. Not intentionally. Even from the stance of, I want to do different, or I want to do better, whatever that means for the family, for the parent or the caregiver. That's good, but if we don't still focus here, whatever came this way from my experience and whatever I'm trying to do moving forward, I'm the centerpiece. If this is still off because I'm not tackling what I need to, or just acknowledge what I'm going through, that filter is skewed. So even though my intention is to do something different, is to be better, if I'm not addressing me, my actions reflect that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why, from the standpoint of, adults and children, it's different, but it's the same linkage, right? So we're trying to intervene here to affect down there. Can't do anything about the past. Maybe your past even got you where you're supposed to be, and you're primed and ready to go, right? So for me, I like to phrase it as, we're getting in it, right? No, let's address it. You're not broken. You're not wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. This is life. Now let's push forward. Let's tackle it together.
Yeah.
I told you I'm long-winded. Y'all gonna have to give me a sign. Like,
No, you're good. Just keep going. Yeah, so things that can cause bad mental health. What is something you see a lot?
you guys got phones?
Yep.
Okay. Social media is dangerous. I use social media for sure.
Yeah.
It's a tool, right? It's a tool, and anything can be used for good or bad. But let's be honest, these algorithms are intentionally structured in order to bring you in, right? And there's been recent cases with Meta and the lawsuits and things like that, right? They are intentionally looking at how young children's brains develop, right?
Yeah.
And then trying to accentuate how we can target and how we can gravitate and pull them in. Okay? So now we're pulled in. My parents or your parents or anybody's parents way back in the day may have had to compare themselves or battle with maybe 10, 15, 20 neighbors, right? Now today, in this little device, I am now doing that with 10, 15, 20 million people 24/7, and I am comparing myself to them.
Yeah.
And then in order to look attractive and to bring you in, I have to make everything look like, oh, it's sunny over here. We're doing excellent over here. That's a lot of pressure. That's a load that I guess I'm at the point now I have to say I didn't carry, right? Not to that degree. And before me didn't carry. It's not that today you can't do it or the younger generation can't do it. It's just that you guys your brains they're developing, they're under development, they're under attack, right? And then you're just taking everything in. That's a lot to take in. So social media is one, the screen time for sure. So I know it sounds corny because you live on it, but it's doing a lot of harm if you don't bring it in, rein it in rather. We talked about experiences, your childhood, the stressors there, economic, financial stressors, poverty, racism, prejudice, those things can bring that on. And, and that's a topic, that we could discuss way more in depth than what we're doing right now. Just the idea of racism and what that is and what it's not and what's being perpetuated and being propagated out there. It's false. It's false, right?
Yeah.
What I mean by it's false is that the notion, the idea is that not being equal or not living up to a measure or not being allowed to enjoy this very same thing that others have, that is a lie. That is a lie. So that's another one. And but then just anybody's life, it can happen. Once again, your life goes like this, right? But it's just sometimes some of us stay down a little bit longer, right? And that's okay. But the more we just reach out and say, hey, I know something's off. I feel something's off. You okay? Sometimes, man, thank you for asking. Thank you. Yes, something's off, right? Yeah. Or maybe not. Sometimes they won't do that. But asking somebody with it is not going to come and say, hey, I'm having this problem. Sometimes just asking the question is all of it, right? Just being authentic and just being there. But yeah, it could be anything. It could be anything at all. What I get concerned about is how accustomed we normalize certain things, right? So the longer you leave it to be dealt with at a later time, you might not be able to find it. You're just used to it,
Yeah.
So
how would you tell like someone who's struggling with their mental health to get like a better mindset at it or just like bounce back?
I wouldn't even say bounce back. I wouldn't even say get better at it. I would say each experience, even though it could be negative or positive, it's still a learning part of your life, right? You are taking those experiences and you have to start asking, well, what does this mean to me? It doesn't have to be packaged and clean. What does this mean to me? What is going on and how am I being affected by this? And if you've heard of the term, I have to ask you this because I said cooties one day, like in the room, and somebody looked at me and said, "Wait, what? What's that?"
Yeah.
So the term, the elephant in the room, addressing the elephant in the room. How would you go about addressing the elephant in the room? I'm asking you guys. I'm flipping the interview for a second.
I can be pretty confrontational.
I cannot myself. I would just not address it.
You wouldn't address it?
No.
Okay.
That's
all
just
right.
who I am.
Okay.
I might, if I get a little courage, I'll be like, just like
Right.
try to address it. You know what I mean?
But nobody even asked a question, right? We got an elephant in a room. Sometimes the first thing to do is turn the light on.
Yeah.
It's just to acknowledge the elephant. I'm not going to move you. I may not move you today, but I see you. In my mind, you were 100 feet tall. I mean, you're only 60 feet tall, still big, but at least I'm capping what's going on here and I'm addressing it and we're going forward. What that looks like, it's not pretty, it's not clean, but the consistency and coping, changing the mindset, that filter, that whatever it is that I learned or that was impressed upon me, I don't have to continue that, right? I don't have to continue what my mother or my father was upset about or what they didn't like. All behavior for children is learned. And then you build your own on top of an already established, mimicked foundation. So now when you get older, now we gotta break it down. We gotta put it back together. And that's okay. It's scary, but it's okay. It's all right. Did I answer that question the right way?
Yeah, I think you did.
Because it's kind of like it's the bounce back thing. Well, I don't want to bounce back.
Yeah.
right? I want to learn and reframe my thinking and then move forward.
Yeah.
And then something happens, I want to learn, reframe, and then move forward. But I'm 41. I wasn't thinking that before. That came along, and I'm still doing it. And I'm acknowledging that not everybody is going to believe the same thing. And that's not what this is about. When I talk about my faith and resilience, is what you're asking. What do you fall back on to help you get through a hard time? And family, finding one person you can trust, a friend, a parent, teacher, whoever it may be, having some type of healthy relationship is what we call a positive child experience, right? So that's something that can help to kind of temper or manage some of those adverse childhood experiences that we were talking about, right? So having somebody that you can talk to. When you're in a really bad spot, do you guys know about the suicide hotline number, the 988 number?
Yeah.
That is something to have at any point in time. When you're feeling like you're at your lowest and you just can't do it, let somebody know, tell somebody, somebody you can trust, call the number, get something to get safe so then we can unpack, right?
Yeah.
I think really just engaging and just acknowledging, like we talked about, and then kind of getting back to the faith aspect. That's my resilience, right? Because I've had my experiences and still have them, but God has brought me this far. And sometimes in the storm, I don't see any of that. Sometimes all I should just see is just the obstacle in front of me, right? But then I'm reminded, even when I'm fighting, I'm reminded, right? We walk by faith, not by sight, right? That we have to, that's putting my trust in the Lord has reframed my thinking from the standpoint of you just need to do what you're supposed to do, tell a story and move. Don't tell a story looking for a result to say, oh, okay, this is how I know I'm doing right. That's not for you to know. So taking myself out of the standpoint of trying to see some confirmation, right? And I realize the risk that takes. I realize that some people, there are individuals who may not respond to that. But I'm willing to take that risk today, right? And maybe at another point in my life when I was young, I was willing to take that risk, but then things happen, you become numb, and you become kind of like, and listen, look, so just like this, there's always gonna be something to trip you up and get in the way, but you know what though, it happened already, right? It happened, so I don't know, that's a big focus point for me, and I feel like that's the biggest thing that I can offer to give my story, to meet families where they are, to let them know they're not alone. In some cases, I've been through it, I go through it, my kids go through it, my wife goes through it, we go through it. It's real, right? Yeah. But we gotta come together. Who cares if you fail? Who cares if you're struggling? It's getting up one more time than you fell. It sounds very corny coming from the old guy, right? But it sounds corny, so true. It's paramount. It's very, very important. So as far as addressing, those are some of the things that happen, and just bringing the family together, uncover everything, pull the covers off. We're not fearing anything anymore, right? The fear was with dealing with how we're living, and wondering where that's gonna go. At least if we're gonna be uncomfortable, we're gonna move in the direction of where we wanna be, hopefully.
You guys better be listening.
Yeah.
Got some good
Take
stuff.
notes.
So without getting too personal, right? What are some approaches that you would take, right? Speaking with you too. What would you take if you are, I'm not even gonna say where you started, if you notice it, feeling it, just kind of putting yourself in that mode, what would you do? Like, how would you process everything that we're talking about, or how do you process what we're talking about today?
I've become definitely more of I'm very self-aware now, but I'm also like I'm not very disciplined, so I'll know that something's happening, but I'm like, it's fun. I'm not gonna do anything about it.
Right.
Even if I notice it, I'm like, well, that's happening, but I'll be okay. It's whatever.
Right. So you're saying that that's something you don't want to do.
Right.
You don't want
I want to put more action into it.
Right, but you're self-aware.
Yeah.
Right. That's the light going on. That's the light on in the room with the elephant, right? You can't. I don't know what I know. There's something in here. I can't see it. I don't know where. I have no idea where to go. I don't know how to approach it. Right. Being self-aware is that turn this light on so I can see what's going on. Okay, I know I got to work on that, but I know what I have to work on now.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just sometimes got to plant that back foot, turn around, and just stare it right in the face.
I agree with Emily. I'm pretty self-aware. Like, I'll know, and then like I rely on like my faith a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I just always remind myself that whatever I'm going through, like it's not going to stay like this forever.
Right.
And that He has a better plan for me.
He does have a better plan for you, right?
And like He's doing it for a reason. Like everything's for a reason.
But how does that help you in the moment?
It is.
It's hard.
Or then I text Emily.
Oh.
If I'm struggling, I text Emily, if I'm being honest.
So here we go, right? So we just said you got a friend, you have a relationship, at least one relationship that you can talk to, right? You can talk to somebody, being self-aware. You're already doing it, but it takes time to get there.
Yeah.
It takes time.
It was
to
not
get there.
easy.
Yeah.
It's not, because you have to be able to say, this is okay, and it doesn't make me any less of a person, a physician, a teacher, a mom, a dad, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't make you any less. As a matter of fact, it will strengthen you because the next generation is watching. They are watching you. Remember, way back when we talked about behavior is learned. I mean, it is, and it's imitated, right? Children imitate the behavior, and then they carry on, right?
We talked about yesterday like how we like almost convince ourselves sometimes that we have to be perfect and stuff, but like we've grown from that like a lot.
It's like,
so
according to whose standard, and what is perfection? Perfection versus permanent.
I said I hold myself to a really high standard, so it's like my perfection getting to myself.
Okay.
having like
Right.
my own like
Expectations.
what is perfection?
Right.
Like that was making me think
No,
like,
so
wow,
that's
for
why-
real? Like what makes it
Yeah,
perfect?
So that's why I
Exactly.
said perfection versus permanent. What we think we do, practice makes perfect, doesn't. There's no such thing as perfect, according to whose definition, right? Something perfect to me may not be perfect to somebody else, but if I'm happy and I'm not harming anybody, I'm healthy with it, and I'm standing on my principles, my morals, then who is to say it's not perfect? But permanent, you can definitely do. The more you do something, the more ingrained it becomes in you, the more permanent it becomes how you deal with certain things, right? Or you're saying, I have to have this perfection, whichever, even though you may acknowledge that that's not what it should be, it's hard to still fight it off because it's implanted in us from somewhere. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So trying to uncover that and to figure out what's going on, it takes time. It takes time, and it takes community. So then how do you combat that? If we say this is a very important topic, but we feel that, and I don't want to just keep it localized, I don't want to keep it here, but this is, and sometimes it's not intentional. It's
Right.
just what we're used to.
Yeah.
And it's not only that, now we're uncovering something that we have to ask ourselves, are we prepared to deal with? Right? The explosion of mental health, and emotional, behavioral issues, especially within the young adults, the younger population. I mean, yes, COVID blew the roof off of that, but it's just continuing to go sky high, right?
Yeah.
And the only way to change a routine is to create a routine. So it's kind of like, all right, you're not going to do what I say. Well, maybe you'll do what I do, right? You'll do what I do. You will do what you hear people saying something, but then you see them doing it, right? That's the key. So sometimes making the change is just walking your walk and letting people see you in your walk, right? So we talk about faith, right? God didn't call not one qualified person for the task. He qualified them once they answered the task, right? He made them perfect. He did that. And they were all messed up. Moses stuttering and going back and forth, and I'm not going to I'm going to turn this into a church session, but everybody had something. Everybody had something. But yet they saw them acting and behaving a certain way. They saw them, they heard what they said, and they saw them act and take that leap of faith, right? And then you start looking like, man, I want that. I want to feel how you feel. And then you might be the person, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Right? So then you got to guard yourself too, because your own health, your own mental health is important.
Yeah.
Right? So saying one thing, you have to say it, and that's perfect, but then now let's go show somebody. And then have them show somebody. So that means we got to get out. We got to do this. We got to talk about it. So you are doing the very thing that you're having a hard time figuring out if you're doing it or not. And that's the beauty about it, because you're changing the guard, you're changing, and your body's not familiar with that. Your mindset isn't familiar with that. So you're like, wait, how am I doing that? But you're doing it anyway. God is good.
Period.
Okay, all right. So, all right, that's good. That's really, really good. You know, we're still recording and stuff. Okay, sorry. You know.
No, you're good.
Well, I just, I don't know. You know, it's that elephant in the room. You know, it's you have to unpack it for everybody, right? And we talked about, you know, how things are and how society is and how we treat one another, and we can't ignore that. And you know, this is your platform, and I don't want to make it all political or anything like that, but just speaking about the injustice, right? Think about we said social media can really, you know, have an effect on you, right? You turn on the news now, what are you seeing? And you see negativity, right? You see a lot of those things. You see people being treated unjustly, right?
Yeah.
Imagine those children that we see the images of on TV. Imagine them at this stage, Lord willing. Imagine what they're going to have to go through or need then, now, at their age, and then moving forward, right? The people who are witnessing. We're surrounded by these experiences every single day, but we can unite, right? We can help one another, one person at a time. A friend and buddy of mine asked me, he says, listen, man, I hear what you're saying, but how? I said, in your home, with you in the mirror, in your home, in your children, with me in the mirror at home, with my children, my family, right? And then moving forward, that's what you're going to do. Trying to do this mass broadcast to get everybody, oh, you know what, that sounds good. No, it starts at home, because my children can watch me, and then how they behave, and then how they behave, and then how they behave. That's how we change it, just one at a time. I can do this all day. I'll start my podcast tonight.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, what else you got? If nothing else, man, how you guys doing? Y'all doing all right?
I'm pretty fabulous.
Yes, I'm
Can't
doing
complain.
great. Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Okay. All righty.
Just a little tired. Me and Emily have been going to morning football lifting.
Morning football lifting?
6:30 every morning, so little tired.
We did Fridays off, but not today.
Yeah, we went.
We were practicing.
We went put in some work.
Yeah.
Individually today.
All right, so I gotta start the podcast. I gotta go back to the gym. It's okay. I'm watching y'all do it. You're inspiring, for sure. For sure. This is great.
Thank you.
Do not stop. Do not stop. And there will be people who will support you, and there'll be those who don't want you to do what you're doing. You are reaching the masses. Right? Yeah. You don't have to see 1 million views. You'll get there. You don't have to see all that at one point in time. But the people who need to see, the people who God has chosen to say, hey, I know you're in a bad spot, but take a look. There's somebody in an area where, you know, they might feel isolated, or they might feel like, you know, they're on their own because they appear different, they talk different, look different, walk different. But look at what they're talking about against the odds, right? Yeah. That's the importance. That's what it is. That's our job, right? You love, you keep pushing forward, and, you know, you speak up against the unjust, you know, and that's it. So that's what we're doing. Awesome.
Let us go.
I was definitely seeing other people speak up, and I was like, why can't I do that?
You know, and people are scared. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it's real. Because there's a consequence for everything, you know, and the consequences, it has this negative connotation of a bad thing. No, you do something as a result. The result could be good or bad. Yeah. Right? Bad, the result could be good or bad immediately, but then it winds up being bad, right? Later on. So you have to take that into account. If you speak up, there will be people who may not talk to you anymore. Yeah. Or who may not want to, you know, share your space, or may not vibe with you anymore, but that's okay. Not everybody along the journey who started there is supposed to be there at every single step, right? Yeah. And the question is sometimes, well, how do I know that? Well, where do you set your worth, your value, right? If this is what you know, I give this, so this is what I am looking back to receive, and what I'm looking to receive in return. That's your standard. That's how you know. And when people come into your life, they're not meeting that threshold, right? You have to make those hard decisions to continue to move forward.
Yeah.
Because there's still somebody watching you do that.
Yeah.
The kid in the back of the classroom or the cafeteria is watching you, you know, just make changes. Somebody's like, oh man, I can do that. You don't know, but there is somebody always watching.
I'm not talking about that in English right now because we just read The Great Gatsby. You know how it has like the eyes on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the symbolism. Like someone's always like watching. So that's kind of cool.
And you know the book that I've read a couple times, and I referenced some from here, is called Stamped from the Beginning. And basically it talks about the history or the evolution of racism. Okay? And it takes you from the 1400s, 1500s, all the way up into today. And it breaks down how this was constructed, the lies that were, and it's just the reason, you know, it stands out because something that could be started way up there, and then the trickle effects, because we just continue and continue. Now, if you ask today, what was the origin? Like, why was racism created? Like, why was that idea? Because there is no racism. There's only one race, right? Yeah. So that's false. So once again, now we got to put something else to classify people, right? So if you ask somebody today, what was the purpose of it? What was the purpose of the start? Nobody can tell you. Because they don't pass down the truth. They don't pass down, it was just to make money, right? That the first slaves were from Eastern Europe, and they called them Slavs, right? That's where that term came from, back like centuries ago, right? That's where it came from. But when they escaped, how would you tell who's who? So then as people are voyaging around and going around, they look different. And we might be able to reconcile our Christianity or our faith or our religion with what we're doing. Well, why would you do that? Well, we need free labor for the fields, the tobacco fields, right? Had nothing to do with all the stuff that people like to tout now. They did it because they formed a system and they were in the position to do that, and then they propagated this down of the idea of descendants of Ham, and because you look like this, and you're inferior, or the word Ethiopian, right? Is like, you know, I don't want to misspeak, but it's referring to their skin color on their face, right? These were all ideas passed down, and we adopt them because they're passed down to us. The frustration and fears from our parents wanting us to avoid and not have to walk down those roads knowing that what we're going to go against, right? That's traumatic. All from somebody just want to make money, right? So learn that history too. And it's not just for you as an individual, but also knowledge is what's going to help us. This is an information war. There's a lot of mis and disinformation out there. Misinformation incorrectly, I'm not really trying to cause this. I'm not trying to tell you false information. Disinformation, I want to. And they're out there. So the more we learn, the more we ask, the more we dive into ourselves, the better off we'll be, and we can educate the public. We can talk, open their eyes, turn the light on.
That's the slogan for today.
I was about to say it. Y'all took it from me. I was going to say, turn the light on, right? You know what I mean? Everybody just kind of turn the light on there. But yeah. Okay. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. This was great.
Yes, this is amazing.
Man, listen, I will do it anytime you guys want to do it. For sure. I would do this anytime. This is amazing. This is that movement. This is the movement. You guys are that next generation, and I am. See, I'm getting goosebumps. See? And I'm not lying, because you can see them. I'm getting goosebumps because you are the next generation, and you guys are leaders. You guys are leaders. I might have said this before, you know, it's like when people feel like they're isolated or they don't fit in or they don't, you know, whatever, the shepherd doesn't fit in with the sheep either, right? But he guides and he leads them, right? He helps them out till the very one that was thrown away becomes the what? Stumbling stone, right? So I do this all day. I'll do this all day. All righty.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us today. Hey, listen, okay? It's you. It starts with you. It starts with you. Don't let anybody tell you, don't let anybody devalue or tell you that you can't, that you won't, that you aren't, because you will, you can, and you are, okay? One day at a time. One day at a time. God is good.
Period.
3, 2, 1. Peace out.